Ladies and gentlemen, I'm so excited. Thank you for joining me on another episode where we just find out what's happening in the world. And this time I got another guest. Guys, she's a heavyweight. I'm telling you, this girl, whatever she does in business just thrives. It's unbelievable. I've seen it with my own eyes, and I can't wait for you guys to get to know her. Eliza is a legend when it comes to the world of business. So I met Eliza in Shanghai, and she's actually one of my very good friend's wife. She's the wife of my very good friend. So my very good friend is from America, Davon. Shout out to Davon, holding it down. You know how we do. And Davon, I met Davon because he came to China to work at the same company as me. And you know, when I saw this guy for the first time, I'm like, damn, man, this guy's got so much energy. What's going on here? So we became friends, and we hung out quite a lot, and you know, we just shared ideas. And Davon, he's very much into food. Well, let me rather say this: he's very much into fitness and health, and healthy lifestyle. And so, you know, when it comes to eating, Davon likes to eat foods that are good for the body. And you know, the first time I met this guy was, guys, this Hulk ain't got nothing on this guy. And so he introduced me to Eliza. You know, him and Eliza met in Shanghai, and they actually are married now. So it's really amazing to have witnessed, you know, the steps. I mean, I wasn't there for the everything, but you know, so cool to see that my friend, you know, is happily married with his wife. And so when Davon and Eliza invited me to their apartment in Shanghai, they were having a showcase of their food products that they had been designing and curating. And so Eliza made some vegan food. Davon assisted with that, and because Davon's a chef himself, you know, he gets down. And so they had like a few friends come over and get a taste of the food and give some feedback. And it was my first time eating vegan food, and so it was interesting. It was an interesting experience for me. And so the idea was to start having events, or also selling this food. And so the business actually kicked off. I remember Eliza was banging, you know, doing her side, you know, getting the word out there, getting the products out there. And so later, Devon and Eliza left Shanghai, and now they're together living in America, and Eliza has her own business. And guys, I don't even want to give it away as to what it is, because I want her to tell us exactly, you know, what's happening with her business. Because guys, I'm telling you, you know, she just gets things going immediately. And look, Eliza was a teacher at that time too, teaching at a different company, and you know, she was basically balancing you know, her job and her business. And now I'm thinking that she's in this current business that she's doing right now in the States. And mind you, Eliza is not from the States. She's actually from the UK. And so you know, she's definitely playing in her outside of her comfort zone, and thriving, guys. So, we're going to learn about how this is possible and, what kind of steps she's been taking to make this happen. And so I'm very excited, guys. One thing I know about Eliza is she's into yoga. I remember Devon was sharing some of the different kind of abilities she has in terms of like the yoga. She's really deep into it, and just the kind of movements that you can eventually get to expressing once you master certain levels, when you start to hit those chakras. I don't really know anything about yoga, so please bear with me. So Eliza is actually coming through, and here we go, guys. Hey, speaking of the legend, hello Eliza.
Hello.
Hey, how are you?
Yeah, I'm great, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you for coming through. It's amazing. I'm so happy that you can come through on such kind of short notice.
Yeah, it's okay, of course. Yeah, make time.
Yeah. So I was basically telling the audience a little bit about you. And the fact that I met you in Shanghai, and you and Devon are married, and it's so cool. So can you give the audience a little bit about who Eliza is?
Okay. Wow. Yeah. Where to start? Right. So I'm from the UK, and as Chris mentioned, we met in Shanghai. I was teaching there for 4 years. So I moved there when I was 22 and I left when I was about 26. So, and then I now live in the US with my husband, who is American, who I also met in Shanghai. But I've always thought of myself as a kind of, I guess I've thought of myself as very independent. And I think that has come to fruition more recently. So yeah, I guess that's me. I love to travel, and I love kind of being in charge of my own destiny. So yeah.
That's amazing. That's exactly what I was telling everybody, is that you have a way of actually just making things work when it comes to business and finance.
Yeah, my dad always refers to me as very resourceful, so I'll take that.
That's what's up. That's so cool. So this is something that you sort of always is it like something that's like it's just your nature. You've always been like that.
Definitely. So both my parents have their own businesses. So it's all I've ever known is being your own boss. Even though both my parents, the way they did business was very different to how I do it in terms of the structure. Like, things have changed. You can do a lot more now with the online space. So they both had like in-person businesses where they had to be there every single day, morning, noon, and night. And obviously mine is a bit different to that because I now have access to online and I can work anywhere and like that. So, but yeah, it's definitely in me for sure. It's I don't really know when it first. I feel like I was always a bit of a, I don't want to say rebel because I didn't do anything like bad, but the school structure was just, there was just something off for me. It always felt forced, and it always felt like this is not how my brain works. I feel like I need to be free and like in charge of how I do my own things. And I felt like that also bled into when I started working as well. I was like, I need to be in charge of my own destiny. I can't. Yeah, I think it's partially an authority figure issue, but also like I just like doing things my own way. And yeah, I've just always been like that. I started selling clothes on eBay when I was like 14 or whenever eBay started. I don't remember now.
Wow.
Yeah, and then I've dabbled in loads of random little projects since then, and something's finally sticking. So yeah.
Oh wow, that's amazing. I didn't know you were into e-commerce at such a young age?
Yeah, I mean, it started off as like just selling what I didn't wear, just clearing out my wardrobe and stuff. But then my mum, she loves like charity shops and thrifting and stuff, and she accumulated a lot of stuff that she didn't wear and didn't use, so I started selling that. And then I started like thrifting as well, and I started selling the things I would thrift, and yeah, it just kind of went from there. But I stopped once I went to uni, so it was just in like my later teen years.
Oh,
But yeah,
okay.
I guess the early days of eBay.
Wow, that's so cool. Geez, that's amazing. I wish I knew about that, in the early days, because I think eBay is like really big now. It's like,
It is. Yeah, it is. I didn't continue, and my mum still does it actually. She has a
oh,
whole room in her house full of clothes she's thrifted, and she sells them, and or just, things, again, like I said, things she doesn't use. Um and yeah, she still does that. So yeah, she's continued it on for me. Different page, but she uses eBay, so.
so she's doing it for you. Like, it's still
No,
your
no,
sort of like,
it's all her
oh,
stuff. She just, I guess, was kind of got the idea. She's
okay,
older, so she didn't really know what that was. Um,
okay.
and I kind of introduced her to it. So yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. Jeez. So okay, you said both your parents are in business. Like, what kind of
Mhm.
businesses are they running?
So both of them are retired now. They're both in their late 60s. So
Oh,
but my dad he was a veterinary surgeon. Uh,
okay.
and he basically started by buying the practice that his boss had. So his boss was retiring and wanted to sell the practice, and my dad bought it and grew it from one practice to three. And then he went on to sell those when about 10 years ago to a big veterinary company that owns like thousands of veterinary surgeries all over the world. Um, and then he consulted for them for about 10 years, and now he's retired. Um, and then my mum, she was a bit different. Hers is definitely more of a passion project. That obviously she did earn a living from it, but it's the kind of industry where you have to be super, super passionate about it. So both my parents worked with animals. My
Oh,
mum, she owned a horse riding and like training center. So she
wow.
taught people to ride. She trained horses for competitions and just to be, sold on to other owners and stuff. Um, but yeah, did. She had one before I was born, sold that one, got another one with a
Oh,
business partner, sold that when I was like 3 because she had a nasty accident. And because she had 3 children, so she kind of needed more time. And then she got another one a bit later on. I can't remember how old I was, but yeah. And then unfortunately, due to working with horses is with animals in general, like it's a lot of physical labor. So she has a lot of injuries and stuff. So she had to retire from that. Not entirely, but she retired from her business when she about 10 years ago,
oh,
because she had to have double hip replacement.
oh,
But
jeez.
yeah, so and then she just kind of went into teaching and stuff. So but yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Wow.
so very, like I said, very different to what I do. It's funny because neither my brothers and I, we're not big animal people. Like, we love animals. Obviously, we don't want to hurt them or anything. Like, I'm vegan.
Okay.
My brothers love dogs and stuff, but none of us work with animals. But both our parents did work with animals. So yeah.
Okay.
But yeah,
Wow.
like I said, very different to what I do.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So tell the audience about what you do. It's very interesting.
Right. So, starting, I started off 2 years ago as a virtual assistant. Basically, I was working in a law firm, and my husband and I, then fiance, were in a long distance relationship, and I had just kind of stumbled across a few people who talked about working online. And this was 2022, so kind of just after the pandemic, well, yeah, like end of the pandemic. And that surge in remote work had kind of come up. And I hadn't experienced that because during the pandemic, we were in Shanghai, we were teaching English and little kids and stuff. So I didn't really witness that remote work surge firsthand. A lot of my friends were working from home. Well, friends in the UK were working from home and stuff. And so when I came back to the UK, I started to see that more people working from home, people working online. And I just kind of thought, well, that sounds great, like the flexibility involved. And then I kind of dug into it more and realized, if you work with a company, you yes, you can work from home, but it doesn't necessarily mean you can work from anywhere. Like they might require you to stay in the country, in the state. If you're in America, sometimes they require you to stay in the same state. So I was like, okay, well, I don't think that's going to work for me, because the whole reason I wanted to work online was because my husband and I were in a long distance relationship, and I kind of wanted to accommodate that somehow so we could travel and see each other more often than we could, because he had a job where he couldn't get much time off, and it was frustrating.
Yeah.
So I looked into like virtual assistants. That was the first thing that came up that really piqued my interest, because I was working as a legal assistant in a law firm. So I did lots of admin work. I had done lots of admin work as a teacher, and do admin in your day-to-day life. So I was like, oh, I can do that. That's easy. Um, and I kind of dived into that pretty much head first. Like I stayed with my job as a legal assistant for the first 3 months, and then I went part-time as a legal assistant and part-time virtual assistant. And then I went full-time with virtual assistants basically 4 or 5 months after starting. I started on a platform called Fiverr, which is like a
Oh.
freelancing platform. Um, yeah, personally, it gave me a good start, but I don't love it. um, but I got my first few clients through it, so it gave me a good start. So I'm grateful for that. But you know, doing other people's admin and stuff, it's not. It doesn't allow for much creativity or much wiggle room in terms of what your day to day looks like. It's monotonous. It's the same. It's basically the same as an office, you know, desk job, a clerical job, where you're kind of doing menial tasks, kind of monotonous. And I was like, okay, so I've got the flexibility and the remote part down. That's great. Love that for me. I love to travel, so it allowed us to travel. We spent 5 months in Mexico while I was doing this, and uh, I also then started to get more into social media management, because they kind of go hand in hand, virtual assistants and social media management. A lot of the time you're approaching online businesses or small business owners who don't really want to do their social media. They don't have time to do their social media. Their focus is elsewhere. Like, I don't know, just for example, I worked with an essential oils company. Their focus was making their essential oils. Their
Okay.
focus wasn't posting on Instagram or Pinterest or TikTok. So they were my first, I think, yeah, they were my first social media management client, and they kind of gave me free reign with the creativity aspect, and I just loved it. I really enjoyed it. They gave me photos and videos to edit and work with, and I found that part is what I enjoyed the most. Like, I didn't enjoy doing market research for people and spreadsheets and all those things that came with the admin side. I
Okay.
preferred being more creative, and I learned a lot about social media in just a few months from them. And then from them, I created a portfolio and I put that back on Fiverr, and I got more social media management clients from that. So again, still on Fiverr at that point. But I was doing all this creating for other people, and although I had, got the remote, got the flexibility, I was in charge of my own schedule and everything, and I was creating, so I wasn't doing as much admin. I was still doing a little bit of admin for people, just income. Um, but I really knew at that point that I really loved the creativity side, and I think I just saw how much opportunity was there in social media. And I have always wanted to do like travel vlogging, um, you know, travel YouTube. And I guess I was just always too scared to put myself out there. It felt safer to be like, oh, I'm creating for other people. I'm kind of behind this shield of people don't know that I made this. So, it's not really open for as much criticism or judgment, I guess. But uh, something I think after spending 5 months in Mexico, going home, then going to Greece, and then going back home, all this was during like a visa process for me to move to the US to marry my husband. So, this wasn't me just jumping around for no reason. Like, I was moving to the US, but I couldn't stay here, so I had to kind of just figure out where I was going to be. I was kind of hopping around, um, and yeah, I kind of took the dive into travel creation. I still do some social media management just because it's just I need like a secure income. Social media is very flaky and can be unpredictable sometimes with brand deals and Airbnb collaborations and stuff. So yeah, I've kept a couple social media management clients, but now I do full time travel UGC creation. So I create for Airbnbs, outdoor brands, mostly outdoor brands, but I have done a couple collaborations with um, non-alcoholic drink brands because I don't drink. So, but yeah, so it's mostly my main income now is Airbnb collaborations. So I visit properties, I take videos and photos for them to use on their social media, and yeah, that's the long answer of what I do.
Okay, cool. No, that was quite a
Then,
journey.
I've had to like pivot a few times, and
Yeah.
it's been a great opportunity to really figure out who I am as a business owner and what I actually enjoy doing because, I loved the flexibility that came with the virtual assistants and social media management, but it's just something still didn't feel right where it was aligned. But this is the most aligned I've ever felt professionally in my life. So, yeah.
Wow. Wow. That's very inspiring, Eliza. It's actually, it really is. It makes me feel like, at any, if you just actually follow exactly what you want to do, you'll eventually get there. And it
Exactly.
seems
Yeah.
like
I
that's what
think
you've done.
if there's enough passion and drive behind it, then you can do anything.
Wow. And like, so when you were doing the virtual assistant,
Mhm.
gigs, did you one day think that, one day maybe I'm going to actually start doing some travel, or collaborate to some travel? Is that something that you had maybe like at the back of your mind?
Always. So
Oh,
when I tell you I have always wanted to do this, ever since YouTube even started, like back in 2006 or something. I don't know when it was, but yeah, a while ago, 2008. I don't know, remember, but
yes.
I have always wanted to do it ever since like vlogging or travel, especially travel vlogging, became a thing. And I think back and I'm like, I've lived in Spain, Germany, China. I spent 5 months in Mexico and now the US, and I'm just like, I had so many opportunities to start that, but I had so many I had so many things to work on before I could put myself out there like that. And I think, yeah, I'm really in a space now where I feel I'm like, I don't give a I don't care what people think anymore. If people like it, they like it. If people don't, they don't. That's fine. Who's meant for you is meant for you. You know, there's millions of people on the internet, billions probably of people on the internet. You know,
Yeah.
not everyone is going to like you, but the people who like you will find you. And you know, if I can inspire 20 people, that's amazing. Like, let alone thousands. So, you know, I think yeah, this has been on my to-do list at every single new year. Every single new year, I'm like, start YouTube channel, start Instagram, start TikTok, reach this on Instagram or whatever. So yeah, I feel like, I don't know. I think I've done a lot of personal work in the last 4 or 5 years where I'm a very different person in terms of how I show up on a day-to-day basis. I
Okay.
I really, I think something clicked where I was like, and if you want this, you have to actually do something about it.
Yeah, jeez.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's so cool that, like, the world of business has actually been like not just something that works financially for you, but something that's actually a solution for the romantic
Yeah,
situation that you had.
it has. I mean, you know, if I hadn't started that, I don't know what would have happened. I mean, we obviously were waiting for my visa, so I would have come to the US eventually, but you know, we probably would have had to do another year apart. That was how long it took between me starting the virtual assistants and me actually getting my visa
Wow.
to move here. So yeah, it's been a blessing. It has been hard financially. I won't lie. Like, I've not been, you know, there's a lot of people in the online space where they're like, oh, I made $10,000 in a month and I only started 3 weeks ago. And it's like, that might happen for a handful of people, a handful. That is not the reality, though. And I think, I'm not going to lie, I think people lie about it sometimes, or they either lie or embellish massively. You know, there's a lot of money to be made in teaching people how to make money. So, you know, I think,
Yes, that's so true.
yeah, so I think you have to be careful with the people who sell you those dreams because, you know, I've almost fell for it a few times. I mean, that's why I started virtual assistants. I was like, oh, easy. I can do that. I can earn thousands in no time. That was not the case. I was living on pennies for a while. So, you know, I don't want people to get this idea that, oh, you know, I'm going to start in, it's going to be so easy and I'm going to earn more than I've ever earned in a matter of weeks. And that's not the case at all. It's hard. There's been a couple of times where I've thought, maybe I'll just go back to working a regular job. Maybe I'll go back to law. I don't know. But I've stuck with it. And it's really paying off now. It's really paying off. It's been, it's above everything. Yeah. Not giving up, not taking no for an answer. I've had to deal with a lot of rejection, like, oh, hundreds of no's. It was a little disheartening sometimes, but just got to take it on the chin and push through, I guess.
Wow, that's pretty incredible. I remember when you were in Shanghai, you
Mm.
started the vegan food business.
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
Some
yeah,
days.
tell me, like, so what happened? I remember you had that event where you invited everybody,
Hmm.
and then did you start then selling vegan food, or what was the follow up from
Kind of, yeah. So, for context, obviously Chris
there?
knows, but my husband and I are both vegan, and coincidentally, you know, we met, and he had been vegan for a few years. I'd only been vegan for like a month or two by the time we met. So, you know, that was great to just kind of keep me on track. Good timing. Um, but yeah, I cooked him a lentil curry one night, and he looked at me and went, you ever thought about selling your food? And I was like, actually, yeah, I kind of have thought about that. So we hosted a couple dinners with our friends in my old apartment, and Chris was one of those friends, and yeah, we just kind of showcased some food. And Devon was really passionate about nutrition and the benefits of eating plant based, and So that was his wheelhouse, talking about, why people should eat vegan. And it doesn't necessarily mean that people should go full vegan, but just consider increasing the amount of plant-based foods that you eat. And then I was kind of the kitchen, the mastermind behind the actual food. So yeah, we did those dinners, and oh wow! So a few things happened. We kind of went into a few different areas. We did event catering with a initiative called Green Initiatives. They would put on like events for sustainability, promoting like plant-based eating, and like vegan lifestyles, sustainable lifestyles, living more eco-friendly. They do things like talks, documentary screenings, there was always food involved, so not necessarily just food, but like they'd always do some kind of talk with food, and we catered 2 of those, not by ourselves. There were other caterers, but there were like 200 people at these events, and one of them we got to cook in a test kitchen for Franca. I think it's like a Swiss kitchen brand. So we did that, and then we also sold like gluten-free, vegan, low sugar cakes. Like I made these cakes, and they were all gluten-free, vegan, and
I
I
remember
didn't
that.
any like I didn't. Oh yeah, we took them to Toastmasters.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Toastmasters were our like most regular client. We had an order from them
Oh,
every month for someone's birthday. They would celebrate someone's birthday every month, and so
okay.
we would provide the cakes for that. And
Wow.
I only used things like dates and agave for the sweetness. So yeah, much healthier. Obviously, and anything in excess is um, excess, but they
Yeah.
were good. We liked those a lot. So we did those, and we did a cooking class. We did a cooking.
Yes.
I loved that. That was my favorite, probably. It was pretty stressful, I can't lie, but it was fun. I think preparing food for any amount of people, and then also teaching them how to make it at the same time was cool and definitely out of my wheelhouse, but it was really fun and just a great experience. We partnered with our friend who was a yoga teacher. She taught a class, and then we taught the cooking afterwards, and Devon gave a little spiel about all the benefits of food and stuff. So yeah, we always knew we weren't going to stay in China long term. We were looking at where we would get married, where we would settle down, and eventually settled on moving back to the US for now. And yeah, so unfortunately, we did have to leave that business behind, I think. And I think actually it was a good thing, because we left in 2021, and obviously in 2022 things got pretty bad again with the lockdown in
Yeah.
Shanghai. So I think we made the right decision, but I never think that business is dead. Davon and I are still very passionate about those things, and I still love to cook, and he still is a firm believer in eating plant based. So we do hope to bring that business back to life one day when we're a bit more settled. And I think yeah, we kind of, this is the thing. I don't necessarily know if it will be our breadwinning project, but a passion project of serving the community and giving back. I think that is something we both really feel like we need. He's very, very social. Chris knows Davon is he's a social butterfly. Like, he's the kind of
Yeah.
person that literally lights up a room. So he feeds off giving and serving people and inspiring people. And I think Based on Taste will be the vessel for that. But not right now, but soon. Eventually, hopefully, it'll come back to life.
Yeah. Because I saw the passion in you guys. You guys just went all in. I mean, the first dishes that you made us at your place. I could see that you guys really love this. It's like something that is
Yeah.
in your heart.
And I think I've actually gotten better as well. Like, my food it taught me a lot about cooking for that amount of people. I had never cooked for that amount of people before in my life.
Oh,
So yeah, cooking for 200 plus people is kind of crazy.
That's
um
intense.
and I learned a lot. Yeah, learned a lot about like budgeting as well, which
Wow.
is a big thing. It helps in business.
Yeah, can imagine.
Yeah.
And and so do you find that there's some things that you've experienced? I guess like budgeting is one of the things, but like from maybe your e-commerce business
Mhm,
to the business in Shanghai
mhm,
to virtual assistants and to the business that you have now. Do you
mhm.
find that there are things that you learn that sort of make it possible or make it sort of things that you take throughout
Oh,
each business?
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And it also a lot. So, I missed one. I did actually make handmade candles as well at one point.
Oh, wow.
Those, and they, I think, were the real catalyst for me being like, no, I need to be self-employed. This is what's happening. So I did that straight after coming back from China. Um, One thing I learned, candle business, very expensive to run, especially handmade candles. I was making them myself, very expensive to run, um, long term. Because at first I had saved up some money to invest in it, so I bought all the supplies and everything. But obviously supplies run out, and you have to buy them again.
Mm,
So yeah, it taught me a lot, and it taught me that was when I first kind of got into social media marketing because I was trying to market them. And
okay.
so I feel like they've all kind of helped each other. I know they might seem random and chaotic to other people, but it's been a learning journey for me where I've been like, okay, well, I know product business is not for me. I was also in the UK and I was like, that's very stationary. I'm not a very stationary person. I'm not going to open a shop or just live in one country for the rest of my life. I know that's just not me. Um, and so I was like, okay, well, this isn't working. It's very expensive. I'm losing money. So that
Yeah.
taught me a lot about expenses. And
Mm,
yeah, so I think the plant-based food company and the candle company taught me a lot about budgeting expenses more than just because I was, the fun part of business is like making the branding and the name and creating the social media page and stuff like that and telling your friends.
yeah.
But the the I guess not so fun side, but the very necessary side of business is like budgeting and expenses, so you actually can make a living off something. Um,
Yeah.
so that taught me a lot, and I think that made me realize that okay, I don't want to do something that has like high expense and like the profit margins are like tiny.
Yeah.
So virtual assistants, there's very little expense. I was paying for a few subscriptions like Canva, Adobe, um, and Fiverr has like a premium subscription, so I did pay for that at one point. Um, and yeah, but generally the expenses are very low. I already had my laptop. I didn't have to buy a new computer or anything. So yeah, that helped me realize that okay, product business is not for me. Service business is more my wheelhouse. I think it's more you can take it anywhere kind of thing. Um, so yeah, they've all helped each other. I've learned something from each attempt.
Yeah.
um, but I think more than anything now, I'm just learning to nurture my creativity, and that's probably the best lesson I've learned so far.
Wow. With the budgeting thing, I think it's very important. And the thing I'm
Mm.
always curious about is when you are actually, trying to hit targets for, maybe the month or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
How does it work like when it comes to paying yourself? Because obviously you got to cover expenses and make sure everything's working, and then maybe you have some profits. Then how do you then delegate those profits? Do you take them and sort of enjoy them, buy perfume and all the nice things that girls like? Like, what do you do?
Honestly, at the moment, No, I think my main focus has been reinvesting in things that will elevate my content, basically elevate the product that I can give to people. So in the past few months, I've invested in a drone, which is right in front of me. I'm looking at it. That's why I went like that.
So,
A drone and just better equipment to create and um, software to edit and everything. So yeah, those, I think that's been my main focus for this quarter. I think moving into the second quarter of the year, I plan things in quarters because I realized from previous experiences writing to do in 2024, and then you get to December and you're like, I've done like one of these things or two of these things, and you're like, it's just way too much. So there's a book called the 12-week year. And it basically teaches you that planning, if you give yourself less time to do something, you're more likely to do it.
interesting. I like that.
I was always like this at school. I was always, and I still do it. I don't know how to undo it. But I was always the person, if you give me 6 months to do something, I'll do it the night before.
I got you.
I just never ever got out of that habit. It got me through school, uni, a master's degree in law, and everything basically. And I was like, okay, so I need to try and change something about this, because if I'm in charge of everything, if I don't get it done, then nothing's going to happen. I haven't got other people paying me. I haven't got a company paying me. So, if I don't do this thing, then I'm not earning anything, and I'm not going to go anywhere. So I came across good old TikTok. It's taught me a lot. I came across the book on TikTok, and
wow.
I didn't read the whole thing. I just kind of got the gist, skimmed it, but it basically teaches you to plan things in quarters. So quarter 1, 2, 3, 4, and I think a lot of businesses do that.
Yeah.
But this was all new to me, so I was like, oh, that's a great idea, and
Yeah.
I did it this year, and it blew my mind. So I gave myself quarter 1 to work with 3 properties, and I booked those 3 properties within the first month. And I've now done, so quarter 1 is over. So in quarter 1, I did 7 properties.
Wow.
Yeah, which was crazy. I was like, oh, this works. I'm being way more productive because I'm like, okay, time's running out. I got to do it. And I just felt, I guess, more pressure, which isn't always a good thing, but it definitely lit a fire under me. So that's been a big help. So yeah, that was my focus for the first quarter, was reinvesting anything I earned to. But now in quarter 2, I'm a little bit more relaxed with it. I've got the equipment that I wanted, that have helped me improve. And there's a couple more things that I want to get eventually, but it's not a priority right now. I think now, I will probably pay myself a little more this quarter,
Okay.
and enjoy my earnings a little more. Bills and savings are important as well. So
Yeah.
that's kind of my focus this time around. Things are looking good. So,
Wow, Eliza, this is so amazing. I mean, I can't believe you smashing these targets. You're like just doing more than you even planned.
I
It's,
couldn't believe it either. I was
it's
like,
so,
oh wow, they said yes. They signed the contract. Whoa, that's crazy.
see, how did you like reach out to these property companies? Did you send
I
them an
do.
email or?
No, well, most of the time just on Instagram. So with Airbnbs, it's usually someone who has another job, or it's like a side hustle for them. So it's usually just regular person. It's not like you're approaching a business who has a social media manager and a marketing manager and a PR team and things like that. So it's usually just maybe a husband and wife who bought a property and put it on Airbnb. And contacting hosts on Airbnb is a big no-no. It will get your account suspended. I did do that the first time. So I heard of this just on Instagram. Like I said, I love to travel. I follow a lot of like travel influencers and people like that. And, you know, I started seeing people doing collaborations with hotels and Airbnbs. And I was like, oh, that's a thing. Interesting. I first heard of it in Mexico, and I just thought, oh, you know, my content's not good enough. People won't want to work with me. And this was that time when I first started my now Instagram page. So I've improved a lot. Like I've worked on the quality of my content and stuff. And yeah, I started contacting people last September, but it was kind of, I was still doing a lot of the social media management and the virtual assistants. So my time was very much taken up by that. And I couldn't put a huge amount of effort into pitching to Airbnbs. But yeah, I do everything through Instagram pretty much. There's been a couple times where I've started the conversation on Instagram and it's moved to email, just because, you know, not everyone likes to communicate through Instagram, which I understand. But yeah, I usually get people on a phone call. That's usually phone calls are deal closers. Like I've realized, like, if you can get someone on a phone call, you can express yourself so much better. Because, you know, if they're just reading text, they're not getting the enthusiasm, the passion, the tone that you're expressing everything in. So they maybe just think like, oh, this is just someone else selling me random stuff on social media. If you can get them on a call, it's like they can feel it better, and I feel like that lets people trust you more as well. Like they feel, okay, this person is serious about what they do. They understand what I need. They understand my experience as an Airbnb owner. You know, a lot of Airbnb owners, they'll make an Instagram page for their property, but they don't know what they're doing when it comes to getting more reach or like quality content. So that's where I kind of step in, and I think the experience as a social media manager massively helped as well, because people were like, oh, okay, you can teach me more than just providing me with pretty pictures and videos. So yeah, that I do everything through Instagram pretty much. I give you long-winded answers to all your questions.
That's cool.
Like context person, I'm like, no, you need to know all the context, or it's not going to make
It's great. It's great because, you know, one of the things that you know, one of my main reasons for doing this is that, you know, I want young students to have a frame of reference. I want them to be able to see people who are actually doing it in the real world, and, you know, look forward to participating in their own way. And, you know, sometimes it's difficult to sort of get the people to go into the classroom. So this is a way for me to sort of, you know, show my students, you know, what people are actually doing, and get them inspired, because
that's
you know,
so nice. I love that, Chris. I mean, that whole idea is exactly what all educators should be doing, is just trying to inspire, right? So yeah, look, those 4 years as a teacher, if I can, I think that really, you know, taught me a lot about what I'm capable of, because teaching is hard sometimes.
yeah.
Like teaching is really difficult, and I was like, look, if I can do that, I can do anything.
It's
Yeah,
so cool.
yeah, that's been my foundation, I think.
And so when you are actually, you know, creating the content, so you've got this drone now that you're using. So how does it work? Do you sort of like go to the property and then, you know, take shots outside? And I mean, just walk us through like a day of you just, you know, actually, you know, getting the content that you want to get.
Okay. Yeah, cool. So it does start beforehand. So I always look at the listing on the property, look at all the content on there, the existing content on their Instagram, and kind of see the amenities, the highlights, what they're missing on their Instagram, on their social media, what could be done better, and what could be captured better. And a lot of the time, what people are missing is the experience. So, they might have some pretty property photos. They might have, some professionally edited property photos and videos, but Airbnbs are for people to experience. They're not just a home. It's not just a building just sitting there doing nothing.
Yeah.
Right? This is where people make memories with their children, with their partners, with their friends, like with for honeymoons and anniversaries and vacations and birthdays, and like these are places where people celebrate some of the biggest moments of their lives, right? So I think that's my main focus when I go in anywhere, is depicting an experience of the feeling people would get when they're at a certain place. Like maybe one place has I don't know, a beautiful view or whatever, or like or if you go somewhere in winter and there's a nice cozy fire, and you can like this is a very American thing, roast marshmallows. um it was the best for me. I was like, I've never done this before. I've seen it in the movies. I'll try it. I'll give it a try. Yeah, so I always make a shot list, and I always take inspiration from other creators as well. There's some amazing people who do what I do. I am small in the game of what I'm doing. There are people who work directly with Verbo and with Airbnb who do what I do. So I'm small fry, but I'm learning a lot from them. I take a lot of inspiration from them. I don't necessarily copy what they do, but you know what they say: good artists copy, or something like that. It's something like that. Good artists
Yeah.
steal, good artists take, something like that. I can't
Yeah.
remember the quote, but
Like
yeah.
this.
So I always look on Pinterest, Instagram, through my favorite creators, and or I kind of, if we're looking at Pinterest, I'll look for photo inspiration. Instagram, I'll look at video inspiration, and just kind of take note of the shots, the angles that people use, the editing styles people use, what performs well, and then how can I apply that to the place I'm going to? Because every place is different. Every place has a different personality. Every place has different things you want to highlight. But yeah, so I'll make a shot list. I have a big whiteboard that I take with me and write the name of the property at the top, what the deliverables are that the host and I have agreed on. So I usually offer like minimum 4 edited reels and 10 edited photos. And so that's the minimum. I usually deliver more just because I always take more. So I'm like, there you go, there's a little extra. But yeah, so I'll write things like above shot, outdoor shot of us around the fire pit, or us roasting marshmallows, or us eating dinner, or in the hot tub, or looking at the view, watching the sunset. So I basically just make a list of all the scenes I want to capture, and all the amenities I want to highlight. And with the drone, it's just taking it up a level a bit, so you can capture a lot of the like lifestyle stuff with a phone. Like, you really can. That you can make good stuff with just a phone. You do not need a fancy camera. um Although I do plan on getting a fancy camera one day.
Yeah.
But uh equipment does help, but it's not the be all and end all, because I think that is what held me back from even starting this for years. Is I was like, I don't have a nice camera, it's going to be terrible. But really, you can make, especially now, like you can make good stuff with just an iPhone. I've got an iPhone 13. I don't have the newest one, and it's not even a Pro. So, but it's still, oops, but it's good enough that I can make good quality stuff, because you really just have to know the angles, the movement, and how to edit. Editing is everything. Everything happens post production. Like, you could take a terrible photo. If you can edit well, you can call yourself a professional photographer. Like, editing is post production is kind of everything in photography and videography. So yeah.
Wow, wow, that's so cool. It
That's
sounds like a really creative, fun
Yeah,
experience when
it
you
is.
in the
I love it.
moment.
It is.
That's
It is. I love it so much. And it makes a lot of sense. I've always thought of myself as a creative person, but it's just never really encouraged to nurture that. Um, my expectations growing up were very like boxed in, rigid. Um, I don't bring my dad into this, but I'm bringing my dad into it. The expectations were like, you go to school, you go to university, you do something traditional like law or I don't know, law was kind of the main trajectory for me. And yeah, and you go and get a respectable traditional job that I can brag about, because that's basically the vibe. But it just never felt right. It felt really forced. I did do law and I thought, oh, I'm gonna change so many people's lives, and I felt really good about it, but I got into the workplace and it's just I did not fit in at all. I did not fit in at all. And realizing people were willing to stay at the office until 10 p.m. and I was absolutely not willing to do that.
Yeah.
That this is not for me. Yeah, so it is what it
Yeah,
is.
yeah. It's good that you didn't continue just to sort of appease
Yeah,
people. Or,
yeah.
yeah.
That's been a big thing as well.
And and so just to come back to the students, like let's say
Mhm,
I'm a young person, I'm still in school,
mhm.
but I like what you do, and I'm pretty inspired by you actually just taking all the risks. And like what is it, do you think there's sort of like, do you think it's possible for students to start engaging in the economy for themselves as a young business owner,
Yes.
and if so, how could they just start?
Yeah, absolutely. Especially now, like I feel like maybe 20 years ago it would have been harder, but you could do little things like sell candy or snacks at school or whatever. Like I know some people who started off like that. So I think that was probably, the go-to back 10, 20 years ago. But now, like, there's so many opportunities, especially for young people online. And I don't just mean as like a influencer or social media, even though that is obviously a big opportunity. But I mean also, being able to reach such a huge amount of people. Like, the world is literally at your fingertips. Like, it's literally on your phone. Like, you can create, if you have a product that you want to create, or a service that you want to do. Obviously, with children on the internet, you do need to be more vigilant. And I think with guidance of parents, then absolutely, I think there's plenty of opportunity for young business owners to get involved, especially now. I think you know I don't think you have to know what you want to do. I spent so long kind of being jealous of people who, I wanted to be a doctor since I was 5 years old, and now I'm a doctor, and they're a doctor for the rest of their life. And I'm like, I've never, I had so many different passions and interests, and I was like, why can't I just pick something and stick to it? And I felt like it was a bad thing, but now I feel like it has been my gonna be a little cringe superpower, I guess. Being able to, I'm so adaptable and resourceful. So I feel like if you're a young person and you want to get into business, but you're not quite sure where to start, pick something that interests you, that you enjoy, and it's okay if you don't like it. If it's okay if you fail the first time. I have failed like 3, 4 times now, and I don't look at it as a bad thing. They have taught me so much about myself as a person, what I want from my life. I'm still young. I'm just throwing it out there. Young kids might not think I'm young, but I'm still young. So I'm like, it's fine. I've spent my 20s taking risks, and um, I have obviously been in a position generally where I've been privileged enough to take risks, because teaching in China was quite comfortable financially. So, and also workload wise was not crazy. So that gave me a lot of wiggle room to kind of experiment outside of work. coming back to the UK, I felt like I definitely didn't have as much financial wiggle room or um, time to kind of experiment. But uh, I definitely think if you have an idea, go for it. Like, there might be some trial and error. I think research is really important. Um, I'm all for taking risks and diving into things, but do that with some kind of some foundation of like, okay, this is my plan. Right, have a plan, and um, I don't know, I've never given advice to children on business before, but I think that's yeah,
I think that was brilliant. I think what I really appreciate is that you're speaking from experience. It's not
mm,
like giving a child a textbook where
yeah.
the author is, speaking from
Step one,
research.
step two.
Yeah.
I feel Yeah, I feel like it's different for everyone. It comes more naturally to some people than it does others, as well. Like I'm a very ideas person. I've got so many ideas all the time, and I've learned to execute. Execution has been the learning part. But I'm always I'm good at making things happen, and
Mm.
some people it doesn't always come that naturally or easily. So yeah, I think you just have to try.
Yo, Eliza, you really are an amazing individual,
Thank
amazing
you.
business owner. And I'm so excited for you moving forward. I know you're just gonna keep smashing, like everything that you're doing. You're just gonna supersede. Like I just believe it. I can see it. And for people that want to get in touch with you for your services, like maybe there's people that are watching that want to actually have you come and you know showcase market or
Mhm,
do some collaboration with B&B.
mhm.
How can they get a hold of you?
So my Instagram is the best place to contact me. I'm on it a lot.
Yeah.
So it's at Eliza Roams, just on Instagram. Yeah, that's the best
Oh,
way to contact me. Honestly, even my friends talk to me on there now. They
awesome.
don't message me anymore. They just message. Well, not on like WhatsApp or anything. They just message me on Instagram because they're like, how can I get a response from Eliza?
I
So
got you.
it's my it's my controlling the screen time has been a little crazy, but it's where I do pretty much all my work. So yeah.
Okay, all right. So for anybody watching that wants to work with Eliza, guys, you should definitely contact Eliza. She's an amazing business owner, amazing individual, and I know that if you guys want quality, she's definitely the one to deal with. And so, parting shot, because you've given us so much time, you've given us so much
What?
information, so
Sorry,
much knowledge.
I was like, am I gonna stop talking? I'm taking time.
Yeah, no, I really appreciate it. I really appreciate
Oh,
it.
no, thank you
Knowing
so
that
much. It's been great.
yeah, it's been great. It's been great. It's been perfect. I can't wait for
I
the
was a little
final edit.
nervous. I was like, am I gonna know what to say? Do I know how to, reach the kids?
No, you are perfect. You are absolutely perfect. I think this is exactly what my students in particularly needed.
Mhm.
In particular, and I think that anybody else listening, whether they're a business owner or whether they're inspiring business owner or someone who's looking to have your services, I think they're gonna really appreciate knowing that you're out there and you're doing your thing, and now we know that we can contact you on Instagram,
Yes,
and hopefully you keep
definitely.
getting a lot of business. And Eliza, I really enjoyed this. You really gave me more than I was even hoping for, and thank you.
I'm an
I really
open book.
appreciate it.
I'm an open book.
And I was wondering if we can do it again sometime, maybe like in the future where we've seen some developments, maybe you
Yeah,
doing some new things. Since you have so many ideas, hopefully we can do another one just
yeah,
to
I would
see.
love that. That sounds great.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you so much, Eliza.
Thank
I'm
you
gonna
so
let you go
much.
because your family, lady, and I don't want
Yeah,
to take too much time.
I do
So
actually
thank you very much.
have everything to do today as well. So because we're also moving in like a few days, so I
Oh,
need to pack and edit and stuff. So yeah. But
okay,
thank you so
cool.
much for talking to me, Chris. I love that all the plants in the background, by the way. You're a plant.
Yeah, thank you, thank you. Yeah, I got some mint and thyme and yeah,
Oh,
rosemary.
nice.
Yeah, thank you, thank you. So yeah, say hello to Davon if Davon's around. If you can hear
He
me,
is
what's up,
around.
Davon?
He's obviously not been trying to interrupt, so I don't know where he went. I think he's upstairs, maybe. So
Oh, okay, okay, cool. Yeah, no, so good to see you, Eliza.
yeah,
Thank you
you
so much.
too. Thanks, Chris. All right,
We'll
have
chat again.
a great week. Speak soon.
Thank you, you too. All right, bye bye.
Bye.
Cheers, bye. Guys, I told you we're coming through with heat, and Eliza just dropped it like it's hot. And hey, guys, listen, you want to get your B&B sorted out, you want people to actually come to your B&B, not just look at the website. Eliza's the one, guys. What are you waiting for? You got an Instagram. We're gonna put the Instagram link and the details in the description. You guys can just go and follow her there and make sure you contact her before your enemies do, because I'm telling you, Eliza's bringing in the money, guys. She's bringing the money, and you don't want to be sleeping. You heard her. You heard her telling you exactly. She gets things done. She doesn't wait. She doesn't wait, guys. So don't be a waiter. Don't sit around tables. All right. Thank you so much for tuning in. It's been wonderful, and I want you guys to really just, if you have a dream, a vision, you want to build a business, you want to achieve whatever your goal is, remember exactly what Eliza was telling us. Just give yourself less time. Give yourself less time to get it done, and you know what? Chances are you'll get it done. So I'm so grateful to know Eliza, and shout out to Davo. Davon's my, hey man, that's my brother. That's my brother. So he's holding it down all day long, and I feel so good, guys. I can't wait for you guys to interact with Eliza, and we'll see Eliza again. That's for sure, guys. Stay tuned. Hey guys, we've got the best of the best.